Hey everybody, Nick here. It's been a few years since I checked in, and I wanted to show you and kind of give you an update on the Sunterra stainless built-in that I installed, I believe, in 2017 or so. Prove me wrong or right, it's on the original video. But I wanted to give you an update, and also I'm updating some grates on it today, and I'm going to be replacing the cable, so I want to kind of show you the process of how I think that's going to go. I've had one broken cable before. I replaced it. I needed to replace the other one, so I got a little bit of process with that. But let me flip the camera around and show you what this thing looks like after 5, almost 6 years of use. All right, so here she is, Sunterra. I think this is the 36-inch Santa Maria. So wearing pretty decent. You can definitely tell, like, it's not like I don't believe it's 304 stainless, because there's a little more pitting than I would expect it to be. But overall, it's performed pretty well. Pretty early on, this handle started catching a little bit right there. I probably just need to go in and file down this little guy. Not that big of a deal. I did mention on the first use that the bottom swole up. It's still swollen. I don't know if the metal itself is swollen or if it's just kind of pushed those fire bricks up. Eventually I'll have to replace those fire bricks, but really hasn't caused any problems in the use of the whole thing, so that's good. Construction wise, still doing pretty good. You can see it's pretty dirty. One of the biggest bummers is that when that cable failed, which all these are going to fail on a Santa Maria, when the cable failed, this tray was full of grease. And when that tray was full of grease, it went all over the patio. And my wife and I had to steam and scrub the patio for hours and hours and hours. So that was a big bummer. One of the reasons I'm now replacing with the V-grates, with these round bar grates that I just bought from Sunterra, is so that I don't have that grease catch anymore. Now, yes, I could take that grease catch off. The problem is these V-grates are still going to run all that grease down, and it's just going to have nowhere to go, so it's going to fall right out the front. So if you use the V-grates, you have to leave that catch on. So I'm taking the V-grates off. Honestly, I've never really loved them. Overall, I think they cook really evenly. They sear pretty well. They do prevent flare-ups, which is nice. But I guess I want more fire. I want more char. I want more stuff coming up through the grates. I want a little bit more sear action, not just metal contact sear, but bark action and stuff like that on the food. I've always been a fan of round rail grates. This was my first V-grate system that I bought. Was hoping I was really going to like it. It definitely has its uses. Honestly, the biggest downfall is it just gets filthy. Now, I know you say just put a cover on it. Yes, you could. The problem is the Sunterra cover, I believe, which I bought it and honestly never used it. It covers up the wheel, and I like my wheel because it's kind of a central part of my outdoor kitchen. So maybe I could have a custom cover made. I may still do that, but that V-grate, they just catch. It catches grass, it catches dirt, it catches everything. I'm constantly scraping it out. Now, when Sunterra, when you buy the thing, where did it go? But when you buy it, they give you a coal rake. It's over here. And that coal rake, I discovered this after buying a tool that didn't work very well, but the coal rake that they give you, if you turn it corner-wise, you can use the bottom of that to scrape out your V's. Maybe they intended that, maybe not, but it does work. Let me show you how it works. And kind of scrape, and the problem is, like, you can scrape and scrape and scrape, and I feel like, even though, I mean, you can see I scraped that, there's still stuff in there, and you really can't get too much in between here. I feel like I can never really get it clean enough. On the round bar, I can get them out cleaner. I'm used to those on all my other cookers. So I'm going to get rid of the V-grates. I'm going to try the round bar. I had to buy them from Sunterra. They were definitely not cheap. I think it was like $400. But I work in steel. I work in fabrication. I know, like, they're not overcharging for that. That's just what that product is. These are, I think that might be 1/2-inch round bar, or 3/16 round bar. So, I mean, it's hefty. So I'm going to show you the process. I'm going to set the camera up, show you the process of what it looks like to pull that out, to take this out. And then I'm also going to be replacing this one right here. You can see this little divot in there. It's time for that. That's just going to break at some point. I ordered replacements from Sunterra. Now, you can just go buy this airline cable down at your local hardware store. I ordered them from Sunterra, and I know what they're trying to do. They pre-do all the swages, because most people don't have a swage device, and then they want you to hook them up with a little cotter pin, which I'm assuming is just throw the cotter pin through and bend it. I just really don't like that amount of weight on a cotter pin. It seems like it's a point of failure. Now, it'd be really easy to swap the cable later on, but I have a swage cutter, I have a swage device, so I think I'm going to cut that off and see if I got enough cable. If not, I got some spare cable. to make sure we can get that swage put back on. But I'm going to replace that one cable that has not failed yet because it's on the verge of failing, and I want to get this thing set back up normal. So we'll set it up and you can see how this goes. All right, here we go. Out with the old Argentine, in with the new round rail. Just pop out the grease tray. This thing is heavy for that. So they pre-do the hook on this. Yeah, they really only get, I can't do that. Not if I want to drop it all the way down. So I am going to do my own swages. I just feel like I'm more confident with it than using that cotter pin. I'm sure the cotter pin works, and for the average Joe who doesn't even know what a swage is, it's probably a lot easier to have them replace it. If you've never done swaging before, it's basically you run your cable through one of these little eyelets, you loop it back through the other side of the eyelet, like, I don't know if you can see that, like so, and then you take the swage tool and clamp it down. There goes that. And then I'm going to come in and do one more clamp. Okay, now you have like a real nice hardcore clampy swage. That being said, I do need to cut this old cable off. So my swage cutter's got a blade right there in the middle. Come in, put the cable right in the middle, and you saw how easy that came off. So I'll show you what was going on with this cable. Is it was kinked right here and starting to come unwound, and then this kind of had a kink in it and starting to come unwound. So I mean, that was gonna fail at some point, especially if you put something heavy on it. Okay, so now I just measure this because I want just enough tension on it, like one click of tension for this to be even. So I coming down through here. Okay. So now I'm hooked. Put the tension back. Where's my wheel? Put the tension back on. So we're kind of clocked in the same position here. Cable going through. I verified on the other side it's about the same tension as on the other side. So I got one piece of that swage going through. A little tighter just to get some slack, and then loop this piece back and get more slack and then let it go. This is going to want to slacken quite a bit, so you kind of gotta keep balancing out how much you're feeding it versus how much the tension's on it. Again, this is why I get to some extent why they do the I may have to cut that, keep that taut. I get why they do the cotter pin. You know what I also can do, I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier. As long as I know that this fits, I can unhook this. Now I got quite a bit more room. Okay, I'll just make a final adjustment here before we clamp it down. Okay, hooked up there. Get this darn near close enough. All right, calling it good. One, and do one more further down. Okay, that's where we're at. We'll see how close it is. Ho! Just about dead on level. Cool. The reason you want it to be even is because if they're uneven, as soon as you go to crank this thing, one of them is going to start cranking more than the other, even if it's like minuscule off, and by the time you get all the way up to the top, it's going to be like way cranked. So now I'm just going to crank and make sure that all cranks relatively the same, and I'm still showing level. Moment of truth. I think you put these, go down in between. Okay, so first reaction, it fits. You got to get the bar to catch on the bottom, so the bars on the actual cooking grate itself fit down in between the bars on the other. Now that I'm looking at it, it's welded a little bulgy, but it's not horrible. I'm not going to notice it after today. I think this is all, they probably weld all these bars with a jig, so they kind of put them in place and then tack weld them in. So they're not going to be perfect, but hey, that's okay. I'd rather take that over crazy factory. I wish there was one more bar side to side, because I lost about 2 inches of cooking space on this. But see how there's that gap right there? And there's that gap right there? It fits because this bar stops right there on the end, and the same, so I get that. I don't know how to fix the problem I'm claiming is a problem, because you really can't put any more bar there. So they probably did the best they could, but I don't love the fact that all that cooking space right there and all that cooking space right there is sacrificed, because I did have that space with the V-grates, but they were also sitting on top. Yeah, this lens works better. So here's the new cable, swaged in, wrapped around tight, looks real even, looks real level. But again, I'm going to season these things up. I'm just going to wipe them down because there's probably some manufacturing. I hate when people say manufacturing oils as though we as manufacturers coat everything down with oil, but there is some oil or some residuals. So I'm going to wipe it all down real good with a paper towel and then coat it in oil. And then we'll put a fire under it this afternoon and cook on it. Like I said, I'm still pretty happy with it. It's holding up pretty good. It could be prettier. Overall, my only complaint, other than the fact that from the original, you know, we talked about how the welds are kind of weird. They're not the greatest. So that could be prettier. I wish it was probably made with a higher grade of stainless. I think it's probably like 430 instead of 304. But aside from that, after 5 years, still working pretty good. I still love it. I still think it's a cool, fun central piece of my patio. So I would definitely recommend it. Just know that, you know, there's a couple little things going into it and you spend a lot of money on it, but that's why you're buying stainless. So if this thing would have been carbon steel, especially with like the way I take care of it, which is I don't really do much other than wipe it down when people are coming over. If it would have been carbon steel, definitely would be starting to rust out right now. And the stainless is not going to do that on me, at least not anytime probably in my lifetime. And when you build an entire patio around, you know, I got grills all over the place, and all of those, you have to build stuff around them. And if you have to change that grill out, you got to do a lot of rock work and everything. So when you build a patio and you want something to last, so buy something quality. So far, Sunterra has been really good. Still happy with it. Still think it's worth the price point, especially if you're really into Santa Maria. Still is an awesome showpiece that people love, and every time they come over, they want to see us use it. So props to Sunterra. Great job, guys. I don't think they have any other videos that I can find of this stainless one, so continue to enjoy. You got questions, I'll do a better job of answering them, but you guys wanted an update. There's your update. That's how to swage, that's how to change out the grade. I'll let you know. I'll probably do an update a little bit later on about how I like the round rail bar versus the V-grates. I really think I'm going to like it better.